welcome back to yet another episode of The Big Hit.
Welcome, ladies, gentlemen, everyone, to The Big Hit.
Welcome to today's episode of The Big Hit. I'm Katie Dotz.
Sports Jeopardy. I'm assuming everyone already knows how to play Jeopardy,
and welcome to The Big Hit's 2019 edition of Scrap for Your City.
All right, welcome back to The Big Hit. We're going to be talking about a little boxing and MMA. We had a huge fight this past Saturday in the heavyweight division as Deontay Wilder defended his championship against Tyson Fury at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas, Nevada. And what a fight we had as Fury beat Wilder by a technical knockout in the 7th round. Guys, what are your takes on the whole thing? Okay.
Watching the fight, from the beginning of the fight, Tyson came out punching. He came out he was hunting for him.
Yeah, personally, I believed Wilder was going to win the fight. That right hand is the most devastating tool in all of combat sports. But what Tyson Fury did at the very end of the first fight was actually apply pressure onto Deontay Wilder, and that was actually a game changer. And I was surprised he actually came out and was willing to take that right hand and was willing to get punched by it, because he knows if he puts his weight on him and he knows he can't fighting backwards, he was going to win.
The Gypsy King it seemed like, he has that 40-pound advantage, and it just seemed like he was putting that on him all night. He was applying the pressure, and Wilder just didn't have the answer for it. But the thing is with Wilder, the entire night, you were thinking, well, he just needs one big one. So that kept the interest in it. But other than that, Fury was just beating them all around.
It was brutal fight.
And the thing about it is that they said that Wilder couldn't fight off his back foot. And I think that really showed in that fight. Fury just went right after him, kind of like what he did with Klitschko in 2015, where he just went right after him, and Wilder just didn't have anything to really go off of.
Both Klitschko and Wilder come from the same camp, where you just fight very, very aggressively, and you very, very hard, and you rely more on your punching power ability than, I think, traditional boxing skills. So
that's to me, that's such a crazy tactic to go in with a guy with such power. You just have to be absolutely fearless with it, and it worked out. You take the fight to him, and he's not going to be able to land those blows when he's taking the fight to you. So we'll look to see if there is another fight. What do you guys think about that?
Well, actually, Deontay Wilder in his contract has a clause for a third degree match, and he's already agreed to go in with it. But it's more of, he has a contract clause, but it's more of, does he deserve to use that contract clause? Because it's a lot different than having a close split decision or a very, very freak one-hit knockout in the very first round. But no, it was consistent through 7 rounds that he was getting his butt whooped the entire time.
And it's for an immediate rematch, which I don't think Wilder really needs to go in. I think he needs to cut maybe 1 or 2 fights to really gain his confidence back. When you have your first loss, you haven't lost in the entire time he's been a professional. So I think the whole fact of the matter that he's going to come in here and he's going to have to fight Fury right off the bat, I don't know if that's really the smart move.
The thing is, it's people now know how to beat Deontay Wilder. They now know you have to get on the inside. I think what he's going to have to do is completely change camps and learn actually the basics, the fundamentals on how to box, how to defend, how to fight going backwards, how to counter strike.
And I'm not saying that he needs to do what Fury did, where he changed trainers, but he did work with Sugar Hill Stewart before. But I think Wilder needs to figure out what he did wrong in that fight and not blame it on stuff like his costume, which I like to talk about a little bit. Yeah. What's your whole idea on maybe the outfit that he wore for a walk-in affecting his legs?
I definitely don't agree with that. I think it was more the 20 pounds he put on. And he said, my body does whatever my body does. I'm going to fluctuate. But, he looked good, but he was clearly slower. He was clearly slower the whole fight. People alluded to he didn't have his legs, which I can kind of agree with, but he just looked slower, and he did put on, I think it was 19 pounds was the exact number coming into the fight. So maybe that's something, that's not the weight he needs to fight at. Maybe there's a weight that he should be fighting at where he's going to have his quickness, he's going to have his legs under him, have the power. But that's another thing he's got to go back to his camp and reassess.
What about you? What do you believe?
I believe Wilder has to learn how to box. He's not really a boxer. He's more of a puncher. Like, you get hit with the right hand, you're going to sleep.
Yeah, he's a genetic specimen, basically.
He's a weird freak of it. He hits you, you're done.
Oh, yeah, it's just...
But Tyson, he's a boxer. he rope-a-doped him the whole fight and just got around him the whole time and just applied the pressure.
Now, I know some people, like really, really hard Deontay Wilder fans, believe that they believe that one strike that knocked him down was behind the head, was like at the back of the head. Do you think that had a factor, or is it just more of?
I think as soon as the fourth round began, you can see. I say as soon as he tripped over Fury and he went down in that round, the fight completely changed. He got back
lost his
up,
confidence.
but
Yeah.
he wasn't there. He was there, but not mentally. He wasn't in the fight. And that third round knockdown shook him up a lot. He went back to his corner. His corner didn't say anything. They were just saying, "Oh, it's behind the head. It's behind the head," and not saying, "Hey, you need to go back out there. You need to do this, and this to try and get back into this fight." His corner, I don't think, helped him at all. And I know he wants to stick with the same guys he's stuck with throughout his entire career, but something needs to change. You need to bring someone in to. It's not necessarily a complete overhaul, but you just need to change one or two things in your camp going into this next fight, if there is going to be a next fight, which I think that there will.
What if there is probably going to be a next fight?
Yeah.
But after that, who do you think is the correct move for each fighter?
There's talks about the Fury and Joshua fight, the Battle of the Brits, but I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. Anthony Joshua has had one fight in the United States where Fury wants the fight to be, and he lost to Andy Ruiz in New York. So as far as Joshua goes, he's going to want to fight in the UK. He's going to want to fight in his homeland. That's where he's fought most of his fights. I would say about 90% of his fights. And so the fact that he doesn't want to go anywhere else, I think limits the opportunities. And plus, with both of them being on different promoters, you have to have another, pay-per-view type thing where both promoters agree to something. I just don't see it happening. So as far as Fury goes, he says that he wants to fight in the UFC.
Yeah,
but I think he might do one fight there, but I think Top Rank and ESPN are going to give him another contract, kind of like what they did with this last time. I think they're going to keep Fury as long as they possibly could.
Well, because Stipe Miocic, the UFC heavyweight champion, called him out. There's not a lot of money, or there is money to be made in mixed martial arts, but it's not as much as you would find in boxing. Like Conor McGregor made how much? $100 million when he fought Floyd Mayweather back in 2017. It's not lucrative for him to go over there and risk, because you have a lot more chances of getting injured, and you will get starched. It's already been proven. I forget who it was. He fought Randy Couture back in the mid 2000s. Was a heavyweight boxer. Didn't land a single strike. Got taken down. Was ground and pounded, and eventually, I believe, got put in an arm triangle and had to tap out. But I think if Stipe Miocic would come over and fight Fury, I feel like that'd be good. That'd be a great fight to make. Like just a money fight. Mm-hmm. No one hates a money fight. They're always entertaining. They're always a good thing to do. But also with Deontay Wilder, there were some talks and rumors about him going into the UFC and fighting Francis Ngannou, as you know, is one of the most devastating power punchers in the UFC. And to see the two most strongest punchers in the world go against one another would be absolutely fascinating, in my opinion.
I think there's a better chance for Wilder to go over than there is Fury, just because Fury, he would need to lose some weight, in my opinion, in order to really step in the octagon or anything like that.
You have a 265 limit, I believe, with a heavyweight division, so he would have to lose. He weighed at what, 273?
273, but that was with clothes on. I would say he weighs about 270, maybe 271 at this point, but he would still need to lose some weight. Now he's more than capable of doing so. Yeah. I just feel as though Wilder's more built and his stature is better fit for the UFC than it is for boxing, honestly. Yeah.
I think for Fury, the real ticket is going to WWE. I mean, he's got the personality to absolutely do it. He's already done it, and he allegedly made a lot of money doing so.
With Ronda Rousey, too. Ronda Rousey has made another lifetime.
Yeah, so why beat yourself up? He's 31, I believe?
Yeah,
he's I think 33 at this point.
You could have a long career in the WWE, make way more money, and you've already established yourself with the fights with Wilder. So now people know your name, and then you're going to be in the United States, that is, and then you're going to be able to continue to build that legacy while you're still in the prime of your career. I think that might be a good gig for him.
It's kind of close. What's your take?
I feel like Wilder, he should go back to practice. He just
I kind of agree with that too. But,
just
yeah.
learn right now. He just need to go back and just take some time off and recuperate. And just,
Yeah, after that, that's a devastating
Yeah.
loss too, because you were known as the baddest man
yeah,
in
especially in that
boxing.
type of fashion.
Yeah, and that just getting whooped the entire time is I think absolutely devastating to like what you can do as a fighter.
Yeah.
But like carrying on with the UFC, works of Conor McGregor and Justin Gaethje's in the works. Ariel Helwani, the guy for ESPN, who works he's always is like the Woj of MMA, has announced that Dana White's making that happen. How do you guys feel about that?
So the thing about Conor McGregor is that he might actually have to deal with a real fighter this time.
Oh yeah, he is a.
Because it seems as though Conor McGregor's just been going out there. He's kind of just been collecting a paycheck. Essentially, he's fighting people that, yeah, they're names, but they're not the huge names. They're not the huge contenders in any division that he would fight in.
I wouldn't say Cowboy is just like a nobody. Cowboy has the most finishes, most wins, most fights.
He's not a nobody, but
he's
not
a
the
journeyman.
competition. He's not the competition that he should be fighting.
Yeah, he holds the boys from the men. He's that gatekeeper in the UFC. But I believe Justin Gaethje has one-punch knockout power, absolutely devastating power in his hands. Very, very good.
I believe he's currently 21-2 as well for his UFC career.
Justin Gaethje, I believe it's around there too. Also, for the fact, if this doesn't put perspective into how dangerous Gaethje is, I believe everybody besides Dustin Poirier that has fought Justin Gaethje, win or lose against him, has had a losing record since fighting him. And that's something to say. He's fought against the likes of Edson Barbosa. I believe he fought Tony Ferguson, and Tony Ferguson's going to fight Khabib Nurmagomedov soon. How do you guys feel about that?
Ooh, I feel like that's gonna be a good fight.
That's going to be a great fight.
Yeah.
I think he's so dangerous. He's the most creative fighter
He's very unorthodox.
in
with his
maybe
striking.
UFC history with the amount of different things he can do. He can hit you with elbows. He's going to wrestle you. He's been wrestling his entire life.
His Darce choke is as the most dangerous in MMA.
Yeah,
he can hit that literally from anywhere and make that choke. And once he gets that, you're done. You're
one of the best
out.
Darce chokes. And the thing with him is, as you said, he can hit it from anywhere. But, I mean, there's a lot of guys that are able to do the Darce, but he is able to consistently do it from any position at any time, which is difficult. He's mastered it, and that's one of his real
He's
weapons.
also the best fighter, I think, in MMA off his back. You saw versus Anthony Pettis last year, or 2 years ago, on the same card with Conor McGregor versus Khabib. He made him. He bloodied up Anthony Pettis with his elbows on his back. It was brutal, man. It was so good.
His scrambling is also something that is very valuable to him.
Yeah.
Because if he does get in a situation where Khabib gets a hold of him, but he's able to slip away, and Khabib is relentless with his pressure, he's going to come back after him. He is very dangerous in those situations because you think, oh, he's scrambling away, he's going to circle back around, and then you get a flying knee to the head or something.
It could end up like Jorge Masvidal versus Ben Askren, where Ben Askren typically goes for a takedown early in the match and then jumps up, hits a flying knee.
Right now, Tony Ferguson's camp is extremely confident going into this fight, and I think that's something you would see with most camps.
Yeah.
But it's almost like they have something up their sleeve where they've watched enough of Khabib fighting, they know his tendencies, and they feel like they can catch him with something. So I'm interested to see what that is. There's been people hinting at it, so I just hope they get there. We've been here several times and we just haven't gone to the fight.
Habib has fought Dustin Poirier. Dustin Poirier is no person to walk over. He's fought Al Iaquinta. Al Iaquinta was, I believe, 2 weeks off notice to fighting him, put the best fight against him. But Khabib is probably the best grappler on the planet, in my opinion. He is so dangerous. He's so good. Once he has those hands, once he gets that grip locked, you're going to the ground, and he's going to maul you. He's going to be relentless with his punches. He has submissions. He is just going to sit on top of you the entire time, and he's going to lock your legs up. He's not going to let off of you that entire time.
He is one of the most deadly fighters in the UFC, pound for pound.
Oh, he's my number one, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But what do you guys believe that's going to happen?
I believe Khabib's going to win. I believe it's going to be a submission.
I believe that as well. But if he can get him on against the cage, I think the best thing Khabib could do is get Tony Ferguson on the cage on his side. I would not want to fight Tony Ferguson on his back. That is just too much of a risk. But also with MMA, Jose Aldo versus Henry Cejudo is actually now in the works. How do you guys feel about that?
I believe Henry Cejudo might come out with a winner on that one.
Yeah, I mean the big thing is with me is I believe Jose Aldo beat Marlon Moraes a few weeks ago, but he lost via decision. It was very controversial. But Jose Aldo, as you know, went on I believe it was 10-year winning streak.
He's the greatest of all time.
Between the WEC and the UFC, and only lost to a fluke one-punch knockout against Conor McGregor. Not saying that's fluke, but it was a freak occurrence to actually see that happen. Have a man that deadly drop that quickly.
Yeah, Conor McGregor's not really known for his one-punch knockouts as well.
He's a lot more of a, I believe, a counter puncher, but he has his left hand is the best left hand in MMA.
I think for Henry Cejudo, this like solidifies his legacy as one of the top fighters.
Yeah, he's a double champ.
And for Jose Aldo, I'm still here. I'm still capable of doing this.
He's in his prime. He's 33 years old. But anyways, to wrap this all up, there's actually a fight this weekend. Joseph Benavidez is fighting for the UFC Flyweight Championship. I believe that's going to be a good fight. It's going to be on ESPN, so anybody can watch it. I believe there's just going to be a good resurgence in the flyweight division. It has been talks, rumors about them actually dissolving it as a whole. But with this fight, if Joseph Benavidez, is my personal favorite, can prove that he can be a champion, he's exciting to watch, will be great and keep that division to be a great division to keep in the UFC.
Absolutely. It's a good fight. It's going to re-energize the division, hopefully, and hopefully we could get a good fight to watch. That's always what we're hoping for.
Any final words from you guys? Or?
No, I just like what the UFC is doing. They're trying to put the best people against each other, and they're not taking shortcuts at this point. They know what they're doing, and they're doing a good job.
Yeah. Yes. Exactly. Well, thank you. This has been another episode of our great segment where we cover MMA and boxing and anything pretty much in combat sports. Tune in next week to hear our hot takes.
And welcome back to The Big Hit. I hope you guys enjoyed all those segments before this because they were action-packed and full of some fun. But again, just like last NHL Epi, this is the climax. And again, it is not amateur hour. We have the grizzled vets and the seasoned rookies here on the show. We have Austin Smith, Michael Sermon, and Trevor Craddy. We're going to talk the NHL trade deadline because that just ended yesterday, matter of fact. So you're going to see all these new players play for the new teams by the time you're watching this. But I hope you still take our words because it's all things right, no things wrong. Sports analysis here on The Big Hit. So let's just get right into it, boys. NHL trade deadline. So some vital moves across the league. In your opinion, what team won the trade deadline and what team lost? And you guys, whatever one likes to start, I can press the buzzer if you want. Doesn't really matter.
I'm going to take it off here.
All right.
So the team that I really think that won the trade deadline this year would be the Carolina Hurricanes. You know, they got some guys like Trocheck this year, 10 goals, 26 assists. But in 2017, the guy had 31 goals and 44 assists. That's solid production by any means, and especially on a team that's looking to win a cup like Carolina. You know, they were close last year, really couldn't get it done, but the acquisition of Trocheck, and not to mention Vatanen with 23 points this year so far. And every season he's played more than 65 games. He's had at least 30 points. You know, the guy really doesn't stay healthy too often, but if he can stay healthy, he puts solid production up. And also that brings me to my next point, Brady Shea. Brady Shea's 25 years old. The guy came over from the New York Rangers. Only 8 goals and 15 assists, but don't count him out. He has the potential, and I think he's the perfect fit for Carolina.
Yeah.
Well, I definitely agree with that, Trevor. So basically, I have a lot of similar things to what you said. I'll start off with Brady Shea. Right now, he has 8 goals and 15 assists on the season. And then Semi Vatanen with 5 goals and 18 assists as well. And of course, the biggest pickup, like Trevor mentioned, was Vincent Trocheck for the Hurricanes. The Hurricanes were close last year. There's no doubt about that. You know, and especially how tight the playoff race is right now. And if you look right in the standings, this is a huge pickup. Now, I'll get a little bit later on to why that hurt another team. But for now, the Hurricanes are celebrating because, you know, this is huge right here.
Well, you know what? I hope they're not celebrating because that shit drives me nuts. That stupid celebration they do what do they call it? The storm surge?
The storm, the storm surge.
That's why they lose. You're never going to win the Stanley Cup if you're celebrating like that. Listen, it's hockey. You take a puck in the face, you get back out, you wash off water. You only celebrate with parades. You don't celebrate bowling on the ice after the game.
Well, Peter Mrazek would know that after he got whooped on the ice against the Maple Leafs.
Absolutely.
I mean, good for them because honestly, I like to see little small markets like that become successful again. Maybe win the cup like they did a few years ago. But when you said celebrate, that kind of just lit a fuse under me. Also, I'm sorry.
Brought up the storm surge.
Yeah,
It brought up. Oh, that's so good. That's so good.
Well, I gotta say, the Buffalo Sabres made a great move of Wayne Simmons here, getting 8 goals and 16 assists with a crappy team in the New Jersey Devils. But somehow the Buffalo Sabres will tend to screw up again because that's what they always do. You know, they always have a star talent and then they decide, nope, not this year. Let's wait another year.
Well,
and one more thing about New York here. Chris Kreider, who everybody thought was going to move away and go somewhere else, he ends up staying with the New York lousy Rangers, signing a 7-year, $45.5 million contract. Now, I think the Rangers only kept them because they realized how close they are in the playoffs. But even with their goalies, they're still not good enough to make the playoffs. I'm sorry. Go screw yourself, Rangers.
For me, the biggest winner of the day was the Ottawa Senators, and no, they're really just at the bottom of the barrel in the league, but geez Louise, did they improve their future? You know, we were really trashing them on the radio the other day, a few weeks ago, saying how bad of an organization they are, but no, this proved that they want to win, they want to rebuild their team. They absolutely robbed the New York Islanders with that J.G. Pageau trade, trading for like what, a 2021, a 2020 first round pick, a 2020 second round pick, and a 2022 third round pick, which is unreal. This upcoming draft, which is a deep draft, they have 3 first round picks. And if they, I mean, it's a draft lottery, so if they don't get the number 1 pick, if I were them, I would trade another one of those first round picks to the team that gets number 1. And get Lafreniere, the prospect coming out of Canada. If you watch him in the World Juniors, you watch him play junior hockey, this man is on a tear. He's absolutely unstoppable. I think he's going to be a next big star in the NHL. He could be the franchise. You got young players on that team like Duclair coming up making an All-Star game this year. Greg Anderson's a little getting old in that, but he's still a grizzled vet down there. I think that this improved the Ottawa Senators. They made some pretty clutch trades there. Get some nice picks.
Yeah, I think the Senators left the Islanders on an island right there, even though they're technically in Brooklyn, which where is there an island in Brooklyn? I don't know.
Real quick, to add on to that, the Senators obviously are looking to rebuild here. So, Jake, what you just mentioned there, that was beautiful. Yeah, obviously giving up Pageau. You know, I like Pageau. He's a good player. You know, obviously he went off to New York, and I'll get into that a little bit later. But good for the Senators, excuse me. I want to see this team kind of, you know, we've seen it at times this season. Like, you know, remember how we thought, you know, Sports Talk Live, like this team, they're done. Well, obviously they were done, but we thought, you know, they were still winning games here and there. So, but I don't know. This is a good job for the Senators.
Well, now the Senators are in complete rebuild mode. And it's good to see they finally have support from their talent in the rebuild. You know, before they've been talking about rebuilding and the guys there really didn't want to be there during the rebuild. But now you got like guys like Duclair that are really stepping up and really want to be a part of a winning franchise, and they really want that winning culture back in Ottawa.
Well, at least they're not as bad as the Pittsburgh Pirates, where you never know what they're going to do every year.
that offense is not that good.
Well, speaking of losers, who lost the draft?
Well, all right, so who lost the draft here? I think the Panthers lost the draft. Well, here's the thing. Florida is in a race right now for either that third place Atlantic spot in the division or maybe a wildcard spot, but it's going to be tough. They lost Vincent Trocheck. Trocheck is probably one of the best players the Panthers have had in a while, right? So the thing is, though, they get Eric Holla and they get Lucas Wallwork. These are not bad players by any means, but here's the bad news here. Now that Trocheck is gone, Holla has 1 year left. I don't know if you guys know this. He has 1 year left remaining. Like he's going to be an unrestricted free agent after this season. Yeah. So that means if they don't get anybody for him, they have Wallwork, then they've kind of screwed themselves. They just let go of Trocheck, and now they have.
Yeah, they got a rental player.
They got a rental player for half the season, right? So now what do you do? Now then you're really in some trouble. Like, well, I just let go of a heck of a player, which you really did. So yeah, that's a big loss.
I totally don't disagree, and especially them trading Trocheck to a wild card contending team, which in the Hurricanes they might just only have a chance to make the wild card. So you trade Trocheck, a solid player for the Panthers, to another wild card contending team, then you might have just threw your chances away of making the playoffs, because the Hurricanes might end up taking that spot away from you.
Yeah, I have to agree. I think the Florida Panthers lost the the draft too. I don't really think it was a smart move. And you saw the one year that the Penguins did that kind of rental player sort of thing, and then the next year everybody was gone. So
2013 with Brandon Morrow and Jerome McGinley.
I thought that was going to be the dream team.
Oh yeah, that was 16 straight games they won, wasn't it? Yeah, that was nice.
Well, they're hungry right now, so.
Well, I'll say a team that not only they're just known for losing, they're a franchise of losing. It's a laugh. I love it because it's hilarious, and they gave us a Stanley Cup, the San Jose Sharks. Thank you. Come and get better try next year. You're never going to win. And it's because you traded away your Grizzle vet. You get Marlowe back. All right, thank you. I'll take him for the Pittsburgh Penguins. You want that Matt Cullen, you want that fourth line grinder who's a great locker room guy who can really motivate these young guys. He knows what it takes to make it deep in the playoffs. He's a real good influence on the Maple Leafs. You look what they're doing now, partying a little bit too hard. They don't have that father figure there smacking around in the locker room. Mitch Marner's off his game, but they also traded away Barclay Goodrow to the Tampa Bay Lightning. They got a pick in it, but come on, dude. It's not going to help you. And then they traded away Brendan Dillon also to the Washington Capitals. Some players that were vital to their success in their cup run not too many years ago. And now Joe Thornton, Jumbo Joe, their franchise, the face of the league, in the league for 22 years, one of the grizzled vets in the NHL, came out and said he was pissed because they didn't trade him away because he deserves to play for a cup because he said, quote, I've been chasing it for 22 years. I deserve to play for one. If that's not taking a shot at your own organization that you've been playing for the last 18 years, I don't know what is. That is just pure disrespectful right there.
Well, you almost knew at the end of the year they were going to go crashing down because they got rid of Joe Pavelski, and that's another big piece of their franchise. What are you doing? And Joe Pavelski, Patrick Marleau, Joe Thornton, Logan Couture, these are guys that were part of your franchise, and you had to build around them, and all of a sudden you're just throwing them away like they were nothing for you for your whole franchise's life, basically. So go ahead, get rid of Marlowe. We'll absolutely take him, and we'll put him all over the place, and we'll make sure to put a bunch of shots against the Flyers.
Well, speaking of the Marlowe deal, I thought that was fantastic. Yeah. You couldn't ask for anything else. The depth that the Penguins have, not to mention just Jason Zucker. Zucker. We have not talked about that yet. You can count on him to at least score 20 goals a season. And the production from every line, you not even mention Gensel. Gensel's hurt right now. So if you have Gensel, Zucker on the wings with Crosby.
Don't forget Aston Reese.
Don't even say it.
You got Aston Reese too. They just traded McCann. Where was he really going to fit? You bring Marlowe in.
They traded Cahoon.
Or Cahoon,
Cahoon, yeah.
For your boy, though, you're repping the
Sherry.
Yeah,
Connor Sherry, number 43. He will be wearing it again, so I didn't buy this jersey for nothing.
I'm going to call him Captain Brody because he's a shark killer. You remember that OT?
The
Sharks they game too there. Back when we beat him in the Cup final.
And even Evan Rodriguez. Evan Rodriguez, he's been overshadowed by all the hype by all these other guys coming into Pittsburgh. But he's a solid bottom six forward. He's not a flashy guy, but he's a solid two-way forward. That is exactly what the Penguins need. They
Better
need
than
that.
Alex Galchenyuk.
Yeah, you're right. The Penguins have that balance between sharpshooters, speedsters, and the two-way forwards, and I feel like Rodriguez is going to fit in that bottom six role.
Also with the Minnesota Wild, by the way, Zach Parise, he could have been traded to the Islanders, and they didn't let it happen.
Well, that would have been a pickup for the Islanders.
Yeah. Well, so that was your favorite move of the day, was it? The Marlowe?
Yep.
What were your boys' favorite move of the day?
Well.
You got it.
Yep. My favorite, honestly, was the Pajot trade to Islanders. Number one thing is because the Islanders are a great defensive team. They're a great offensive team. But Pajot's going to add even more offense to the Islanders. And not to mention, going to the Islanders as well, Jordan Schmaltz.
Yeah.
Great defenseman. Yeah. So look at that now. So now you have a defenseman and forward going to this team. Oh, I'd be scared to play this team down the run, I'll tell you what. But by far, my favorite trade.
Sarah, you want to take it?
Well, the Islanders could have been there last year if they didn't get swept by a bunch of jerks, which shouldn't have even happened anyway, honestly, because of how talented that roster was and how physically beaten they were to the Penguins.
I was
You were
stunned,
just absolutely sure they were going to beat the bunch of jerks, and that didn't happen. But this Pagot trade is really solid for them because they had a 6-year extension to go, which is only a $30 million cap hit, which is pretty solid. He has 24 goals and 16 assists this year, which is pretty solid, again, with not so good team right now in Ottawa. I believe he can be a strong piece to perhaps push the Islanders where they haven't been before, with such players like John Tavares, where you thought he would be good enough to take them deep into the playoffs, and they just couldn't get past the second round. Now this might push them far enough to at least go to the Eastern Conference Finals and have a shot to get this Stanley Cup final.
My favorite move was a little bit low-key, and this is why it was my favorite move. The Colorado Avalanche gave up a fourth-round pick for Namestnikov, Vladislav Namestnikov, that's a name and a half. But I think that you are literally giving up nothing. You are just giving away the majority, what is it, like 16% fourth-round picks even make it to the NHL in general, fourth-rounders? Like, it is so rare that they even go up, and you're getting a solid player for a deep team that has players that can score on all 4 lines with an injured Rantanen. I think that, like, they're trying to stay up above in the rankings. It's a pretty tight race there between Dallas and St. Louis. So Colorado's trying to make this team young, trying to get this team over the hump. They were right there, Game 7 last year. I really wanted that to happen, but I really like this trade, giving up nothing for a solid player. I think Colorado made out on that trade for sure.
I gotta say, for the Pacific, I think it's done already. The Vegas Golden Knights getting Robin Leonard, a really good goaltender
that was a good one,
out of Chicago. He may not have a great record or anything, but he has a really solid goal against average here. And he produces for you. He gets saves. He has a 91.8 save percentage, which is really solid for any team, really, and especially the Blackhawks, who have just been tumbling down. They still have solid goaltenders, but they just don't have anybody anymore because they all got old. So I believe the Vegas Golden Knights getting Leonard will push Fleury, and Fleury will even play better than he already has.
He's third in the league right now on save percentage. He's third, fourth. He's still playing out of his mind.
Well, not only that, I mean, Fleury is getting older. I mean, and we all know how injury-prone Fleury is. So, I mean, bringing a guy like Leonard in, because they had Subban to back up Fleury, and Fleury is out for a long period of time. But Subban stepped up, he did his role, but you have a second starting goaltender in Leonard. And I feel like the acquisition of him can ease the workload for Fleury. So you're not only you're just investing in Fleury's future as the franchise goalie, and not only that, the pickup of Alex Martinez.
Yeah,
big
Stanley Cup hero.
Yeah, and he can
2013.
He can add structure to that D-core with McNabb, Schmidt, and Shea Theodore, and to really. He's not a top 4 defenseman, but he's a guy that can play like a top 4 defenseman when you need him to.
Okay. Rapid fire here, boys. We got 2 questions for you. Don't take too long to answer it real quick. I know you boys are used to that. So, all right. What team improved the most, and what team now has the best chance to win the Cup? Could be the same 2 teams.
Penguins winning the Cup. Most improved team, Carolina Hurricanes.
Hurricanes were improved, but Penguins were most improved because Patrick Marleau is going to step it up for a newer team. And the Penguins will make the Cup, and they'll face the Blues.
All right, real quickly, Penguins also getting close to the Cup. Not saying they're going to win it, but they'll probably maybe get there. And most improved team, Carolina Hurricanes.
Oh, nice. I like that. Well, I'm just going to hop on. I said a chance. The team with the best chance to make the Cup now is the Tampa Bay Lightning, adding Gaudreau, adding Anthony Greco. They added Anthony Greco. And the most improved team is the Edmonton Oilers. They need depth on that team. They got Anthony Seo. They got Tyler Ennis. They got Ryan Kufner. Traded away nothing. Good. Thank you, Trevor. Thank you, Surma. Thank you, Austin. This was a great show. Thank you all for watching. Stay tuned to the Big Hit next week. Good content to come. Sit down, shut up, and drink a beer.
The Flyers suck.